Welcome to this second video for helping students install the appropriate software for the Java programming class. Hopefully you have watched the first video. If you haven't, you need to install that software first, which was creating the Android folder on your hard drive and installing the Java Eclipse classic software first. If you haven't done that, you need to go back to video 1 and take care of that before completing the watching of this video. The next thing you want to do, having installed the Eclipse software, you want to install the Android SDK, the development kit, so that we can actually have the emulator for the smartphones going on. What you'll do is go to a website called developer.android.com/SDK, and I'll go ahead and get there right now on this system. Again, developer.android.com/SDK. This will bring you to a page that has the Android emulators. Now, there are lots of different Android cell phones out there. Some people have older phones, some people have the brand newest ones of all. And the book gives you a lot of directions, but now the website, since Corinne has published this particular textbook, has now given more direct directions. That's redundant. In terms of getting this software installed. All you have to do is click the little bar over here on the right, the blue one with the white letters that says download the SDK for Windows. If you have an Apple, you would just click other platforms and go to what the Mac computers say, and if you need help on that, just again contact me and I can help you with it. Most of you, if not all of you, will probably have Windows. So click on this, and again it will ask you to save the file. So click Save. And you want to save it specifically, in this case, in the Android folder, not in the Eclipse folder, but go to the Android folder. So back up to where you get to the Android folder so that you're on the C drive, and then choose Android. You want to be sure it's not in Eclipse, but in Android, so it's alongside it at the same time. So save it in the Android folder, and once you've done that, the file name will look like this. It will look like installer_R20.0.3-Windows. And once this is ready, go ahead and click Save. I'm thinking this one downloads much faster than the Eclipse program did from the previous video that I did for you. Just a matter of about 20-25 seconds, something like that. And again, this can vary according to the age of your computer, your processor speed, and that kind of thing. If it goes very long, I'll do a pause and not make this video so lengthy that I have to say things like nice weather we're having, etc. But it should go relatively fast for you. And it will have a different look for it. And unlike Corinne's book, and again, in her defense, when you publish these books, maybe a year in advance, websites, the installation processes, and such can change drastically. And please don't blame it on the publishers or the authors, because technology changes so much in comparison to, say, English and math and science and other kinds of books. All right, we have this download completed, so I'll go ahead and close this. And actually, the directions are on the website if you especially wanted to use these. You could click right here where it says on the left-hand side, installing the SDK, and you could actually go through here and look at this whole process. I've done this already multiple times, so I'll take care of this for you through the video and let you see how this works. You're basically, let me see if I can find it here. This is the wrong screen. I apologize. That's where I'm recording your videos. But if I go in and look at, and please bear with me, my machine's being a little cantankerous right now. I'm going to go to that Android folder, and there's my installer right there, the one on the far right. Again, it may have a different look where you're concerned. But I'm going to basically just right-click on this and choose. You actually can directly click on it, just your regular left click, and choose the option that says Run. And it will take you through a series of steps to install the software. It says, welcome to the Android SDK Setup Wizard. You can click Next to move forward. And the next screen, you can go ahead and click Next also. And whether you want to install this for anyone using this computer or just for you, I'm doing it just for me. It really doesn't matter. And then the folder I want it to go to is the Android folder. So change that browse if it's a little different for you, and make sure you're choosing just Android all by itself so that it says C:\Android. And I'm going to see if I can force this, because mine's got all this kind of user issue stuff going on with mine. So I'm going to go to the desktop and this is just my particular computer. Everyone is unique. Bear with me. Let me see if this is being a little bit stubborn. I'll see if I can get this to work. Sometimes you can actually hand type this in. Make sure it just goes to the Android folder directly from your C drive. Click Next. And if you want to do something with the Start menu, you can go ahead and click Install right here, and the installation will take place. Now, there are some tricks in this particular installation that you need to be aware of that the book does not necessarily explain very thoroughly. That was a very quick install, and you're thinking maybe, yay, this is over. But there are some tricks you have to deal with right here. I'm going to finish this Android Wizard, but then in just a moment, I'm going to probably have another situation come up. And I do. When I go to this part called the Android SDK Manager, excuse me, you're going to see a number of options that you're going to have to employ here. So you want to be very careful on installing everything that you need to install. What's going to happen, you need, because we're dealing with multiple and very rapidly changing smartphones, you want to be able to certainly have the most recent version of the Android operating system. And what Google does, in case you don't know this, Windows has things like Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows XP, where Apple will name things after animals, like their operating systems will be lion and mountain lion and snow leopard and tiger and stuff like that. The Google operating system seems to name their versions other than the numbers. They name them after desserts, like they have one called ice cream sandwich. The new one is called jelly bean. They have many of these listed in your book in Chapter 1. And you want to make sure you have an operating system set up for the older phone, probably version 2.2, and for the most recent one, which is even more updated than what the book says. So you want to be sure you have all the stuff installed you want to. You want to be sure that you have the following items installed. And before I go any further with this, I want to make sure that you once again know about the PowerPoint slideshow, which gives the steps for installing the SDK for Android. Going to the website, downloading it, having the right folder, running the installed file, and getting it inside. And once you get to this Sdk Manager dialog box on the screen, you want to be sure to install the items I've listed on this PowerPoint slideshow. The SDK tools, the SDK platform tools, the latest version of Android, which is probably 4.1 or 4.2 with that operating system, and older versions that you can allow for older phones, because you have to do this when you're developing anything for a smartphone, and then something called the Google API. This will all make sense when I give you the visual. You'll notice, if you can see this up close, and hopefully you can, in this particular dialog box, we notice that the Android SDK tools says installed as the status. The platform tool says not installed, so I'm going to click on that, and you'll notice that the button down in the corner will say install 7 packages. You'll click on this and accept the agreement down here at the bottom where it says accept and reject. Click install, and this software has to process. Now again, some of this stuff could take a little while, and I'll try to make the video less painful so that you can see this process going on. You absolutely, and this is probably the wrong time to say this, but if you are a procrastinator, I hope you didn't wait until the last minute to put this together, or it's going to be very annoying to you. My computer, in fact, at this recording, had seemingly the disk had crashed. It suddenly would not come on. I've got a fairly new computer system, and I'm going, oh my gosh, can I get these videos ready in time for the online class to start? So you may run into a problem, and I want to be hypocritical when I say if you wait until the last minute, there's no excuse for having late work without deduction of points. And the same thing is when I point the finger back at myself as instructor also, I want to be careful that I have installed this software and I've done my act on time. Now, again, I'll pause this video. You won't know the difference, but I'll pause this video so you're not having to sit here and wait and listen to my nice way that we're having conversation. But just wait for your video, or rather wait for your software to install, continue the video if you need to, pause it, or whatever you need to do. Be aware that this process can take quite a while, so I hope you have a lot of patience with this. And we don't necessarily have all the packages downloaded yet. Now this one is done. I will close the manager log box, And notice that it says the Android platform tools are now installed. Notice that the latest version of Android here is 4.1, and we have the documentation, the platform, the samples, everything's installed with the exception of the Google API. So I need to click on that one and install those two packages. So it takes a little while for this to be done. Go ahead and accept the agreement again. And again, we have to be patient with these installations. They may take a while. Some take longer than others. It's something, unfortunately, if you're an impatient person, that we have to go through in order to get the software set up for the Android part of this course. Now, the regular Java programming, the Eclipse will take care of it just fine. With the Android stuff, it's going to take some time getting this done. And hopefully you have allowed this time period. So again, this is the part that takes a while. While this is downloading, I'll scroll down the list. We've got the Android 4.1, the latest version of the phone, downloading right now, and it could be 4.2 possibly when you get it. I don't think so, but just look for the latest one. Then go down toward the bottom of the list. You don't have to go all the way down to 1.5. The book recommends Android 2.2, and we'll take care of that as soon as this Google API does its installation. Okay, this one is now completed. Now, if you want to do the Android support library, you can do that. Basically, we have everything installed for Android 4.1. Now I'm going to go down to one of the older versions. The recommendation in the book, and I agree with it, is Android 2.2 API 8. So click on that one. Click on that folder. If you click on this folder, it will give you everything that needs to be installed for that one as well. So for 2.2, I'm going to click on all these that are not installed, the SDI platform, for instance. And it says install 7 packages. Same routine. I think you get the idea right now. It's just a lot of installation of these various tools, and we just have to be patient as they are downloaded and opened up for your computer system. And again, you'll notice that if you click on the folder itself, Android 2.2, it will install all these different parts. Notice that at this stage, it has installed the SDK platform for version 2.2, the samples for the development kit, and it will work on the. Now, if it stops and says install 5 packages, you simply have to keep clicking and accepting the agreement until everything is installed. Again, at this stage, it's more of a patience/pain than it is difficult to get all this in here. It just takes a while. Once this is set up, you can do some very nice programs. I've actually gone through, this is probably my 5th installation. I wanted to really practice this and make sure I had all angles covered before I launched this into form of a video for you. And hopefully, I really hope this is helping you students out that may be a little more nervous or uneasy about all the installations you're having to do. And hopefully it's not going too terribly painfully slow for you. Again, just be patient as these packages are being downloaded and installed and unzipped. And it may continue saying install 5 packages, 4 packages, 3 packages, and just keep on going through the installation process until all this is done. This one is the longest process, I believe, of all of them in getting the software set up for your computer for the course. The good thing, if it is painful to install, at least it's free. And we try at CCC, at least in our computer department anyway, to try to reduce a lot of costs to students as much as possible because of the unemployment and number of indigent situations with families in this area. And we still want to be helpful in doing our part to give you as much of an opportunity for an education without having to pay for a lot of books and software as we possibly can. And as long as this information keeps saying install 1 package, install 3 packages, whatever, just keep on installing packages. This takes a while. And just do a double check so that when you are finished with this installation of the various components of the software development kit, SDK, that you have your tools, your platform tools, all your versions of Android 4.1, all those components, and all of them with the older one, Android 2.2, taken care of until they all say installed, and you should be okay. Again, the PowerPoint presentation will give you this information for the Android kit and what you need to do. And again, if you have difficulties, contact a fellow student, contact me, come by my office, or whatever you need to do. Welcome to this video, which hopefully will help the CSC 151 Java programming students install the software from the Android textbook properly. Books as they're published can be outdated immediately with technology. The author is an absolutely fabulous person. You would love her if you knew her face-to-face, as I do. And she does a great job with the textbook. But publishers and websites, rather, sometimes will change formats and appearances, and sometimes the procedures in installing software will change very dramatically. So I went ahead and decided to update this for you by giving you both this PowerPoint presentation and the video visual as to how to install your software properly. This could be annoying, especially if you're like me and not very much a hands-on person, so I wanted to make this process a little less difficult or annoying for students. And if you go by the book, the first thing you want to do, even though I said on the slide, do not go by the book exactly, you still have a general idea in the book as far as what to do. The first thing you want to do is to create a folder, and I would do this on the hard drive. I've actually done the exercises and worked through the hard drive this way, and I found this to be a very safe way of doing this. And if you're comfortable doing something otherwise, then knock yourself out. But for the more nervous-oriented or exact computer student, this may be the best way. Go ahead and go to your C drive, and I'm doing this on my Windows computer by clicking the Start button, clicking Computer, and going to the C drive. And I'm just going to make a new folder. Now, depending on the version of computer you have, you may want to right-click and choose the word New and choose Folder. You can do that. Or you can go right up here in Windows 7 to the word New Folder. Either way is fine. And just type something called Android. You don't have to make it a capital letter unless you especially want to. That's totally up to you. And go ahead and hit Enter. And I now have a folder called Android, which is where the information we'll be installing now will eventually land. Hopefully that's pretty easy for you. The first thing we'll do in this particular video is to install the Java programming software called Eclipse. There are many out there, BlueJ, Java Beans, Dr. Java, some others, but this one will work best with the Android and with what your textbook is doing. So I would recommend doing the Eclipse Classic software installation. What you do is go to the website that I have here called www.eclipse.org/downloads. Now I've got this on the PowerPoint presentation where you can actually link to it, but I'll go ahead and go into the internet and I'll type in this particular website, www, after I get all the little song and dance done here. Go to www.eclipse, and let me get it spelled correctly, .org, and then /downloads. This will take you to a screen that will actually let you download the Eclipse software. I would advise you personally to choose and you want to be sure you get this right, you want to choose Eclipse Classic, which is the second one on this particular list, Eclipse Classic 4.2, and choose the one that says Windows 32-bit. I tried 64 and I had much less difficulty in using 32-bit. So click on 32-bit Windows right here. When you click on it, it will give you another screen, and you can choose that great big green arrow, which will be your download. If you click on that, it eventually, depending on how slow or fast your computer is, it will eventually give you a dialog box that says, do you want to open or save it? I would recommend save because you have control over how this is downloaded. So if you click save, you want to be sure that you save this in the Android folder that you had. So in case you don't see Android up there, go to your computer and look at your C drive and find the Android folder and actually open the Android folder so you're actually staring at it at the top. So it says, in my case, computer, local C drive, and Android. So that's where I'm going to save it. You see the name down here. Maybe it's hard to see on the video, but it says Eclipse SDK 4.2 Win32, which is a 32-bit version. Click the save button and just basically wait for it to download. And I'll wait a reasonable amount of time for this. I won't make this video a waste of your time. I'll basically fast forward it. But while I'm showing you this, I'll go ahead while it's downloading and show you the process that will be undertaken. You want to, as I said, install the 32-bit download, save it to the Android folder, and eventually what we'll do is go to that zipped folder and extract it where it will actually say extract here, and I'll show you this in just a few minutes once the download is completed. But you'll right-click and choose extract here, and you'll then have a folder there called Eclipse, and you can actually run, or rather C:/ or / boy, I'm great tonight, Android / Eclipse. This will be a place where you can do just your plain old vanilla flavored Java applications with the basic Java programming language in there, and we can use it specifically here later on with everything installed, where we can do the Android cell phone applications. And while I'm talking about this, you do not have to own an Android cell phone to do this course. I own an iPhone myself. I'm a big Apple person. But they have a special program we're using in this course called an Android Emulator, which basically simulates the appearance of an Android phone. The reason we're using Android versus, say, the iPhone or BlackBerry is that the software associated with Android and with Android phones is open source. Of course, Google is behind that, and Apple's a little more strict about it, so is Windows, and that's the reason we're going with the Android applications. And I thought this might be an interesting twist to just learning Java programming all by itself. I want you to be very comfortable with this course. If you get nervous or if you have some snafus and problems, I don't want you to panic about that. My job is to help you get through the course, not to punish someone or to destroy someone's 4.0. I'm totally not that kind of instructor. All right, looks like it's going little by little here where it will download, and through the magic of video, you will not necessarily know the difference. I may pause this for just a minute until it actually downloads. And it is about to actually finish downloading right now. Getting close to 100% complete. Download's complete, and I can go ahead and just close this dialog box. Now, if I go back to the internet, I've done the download now. I'm going to go ahead and just close the internet for right now because I won't need it for the time being for this video. I'm going to minimize this PowerPoint and go into my folder. If I go to the computer and go to the C drive and look at the Android folder, you will see Eclipse. Now, in case you can't see this particular icon, I'll try to make this a little bit bigger, extra large, so you can see it. That's not much better, is it? Anyway, you see something, it may be different on your computer. Mine has a Z with the folder, which means it's a zip folder, something very compressed because there's a lot of goodies inside of it. You may see a stack of books. You may see like a little press from Industrial Arts. You may see a different kind of icon there. But basically what you're going to do is to touch that folder with your mouse and right-click it. And again, depending on your software, you may see something like mine that says 7-zip. You may have WinRAR or WinZip or something like that. Choose that, and you want to look for an option that says extract here. I realize that there are other options here, but for this particular application, I would choose extract here, and that will throw all the files inside the Android folder. So I'm going to click extract here. Again, depending on your computer, it should go fairly rapidly, but if you have a little glitch or an older computer, you may have to exhibit some patience here. And once this is unzipped, you'll actually see a folder there called Eclipse, and you can certainly open it up, and you'll see a lot of goodies that are involved with the Java Eclipse software. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, too, and I'll make this visual as well, that if you want to go ahead and open the Android Eclipse folder to look at Java Eclipse, you will be asked to do something called a workspace, and you can go ahead and take care of this now if you want to. The workspace name, which is where your files will be stored, should be, I would suggest that it would be, you can put it anywhere you like, but I would suggest personally that you put it inside the Eclipse folder, and it will make life a lot easier. And this particular video is confusing. Slow it down, replay it, look at these PowerPoint slides, which I'll provide online in a separate area for you. But if you want to go ahead and open Eclipse, you're welcome to do so. Just click that little purple icon that says Eclipse. Double click it. It will open up, and again, it may take about a minute because it's a busy kind of program. A lot of Java instructors don't like Eclipse because it is a bit cumbersome to download. It's not painful when I say that, but it's not as instantaneous, excuse me, as say one of your text messages on a phone or something like that. But it may take about a minute to actually download for you, or to open up, I guess I should say. And it's going to ask you for a workspace. There it is right there. Now mine, in case you can't read this, mine says C:users, Sysc alpha, etc. I'm going to click browse and change this. I'm going to click browse, and I'm going to go And again, your computer may vary. Hopefully you're comfortable with this. If not, I may need to walk through this with you personally. But you can basically go through and find, I'm going to go on my desktop and see if I can find this here. I'll go to Computer, to my C drive, to my Android folder, to my Eclipse folder, which should be here somewhere. There it is. And I don't actually have one here, but notice I've got Eclipse selected right here, and I can make a new folder called Workspace. Hit OK. And notice if this is not too difficult to see, it will say Workspace C:\\Android\Eclipse\Workspace, and you want that. When you click OK, this will actually open up the Eclipse software for you. Again, it may take a little while depending on your computer's age and speed. You'll get a welcome screen like this, and if you want to go ahead and go over here to the welcome over on the left side and click the X to close that, that will take you to the Java Eclipse screen, and that way you'll know this is loaded properly. You don't need to worry about this anymore, so you can close it with the X, or you can go File Exit. I wanted to make sure this stage of your installation was taken care of first. If you have any questions, you're absolutely free to message me, to come by my office if that's feasible for those of you who live in the area. But please let me know if you're having any questions about this installation.